West on 25th Street, Harlem, New York. Been teaching the truth since 1969. We're under Commander Gianna. We're here to teach the so-called Black, Hispanic, Native American the truth of this Bible. All right. So tonight is the Biblical Law Class, where we're gonna be going into these laws. You know what I mean, and giving you the laws that you need so that you'll be able to prosper in life. All right. So I want to get down to it. All right. So let's go to the book Deuteronomy. One second. Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. All right. And this is what every Black, Hispanic, Native American need to know. Right. Right now, you're seeing what's happening in America. All types of hell is going on. But one thing that America is doing right now is taking away our history. They're trying to take the little bit of history that they give us, they're taking it away. And I see a lot of people is definitely upset about this. I understand in Philadelphia, they Donald Trump has ordered uh his people to go around and take down any history that got to deal with black people. You know, and he's doing that because he doesn't want a negative light on America, on white people. But here's the thing. We shouldn't be upset with them. What we should do is be more upset with our pastors, with our imams, you understand, and ourselves for not having enough knowledge and understanding of our past. We should look at what Donald Trump did and be like, you know what, man, that don't mean anything because we got the Bible. We already know our history. We don't need no white person to teach us our history. And that's how we got to start standing on, on business when it comes down to our people, when it comes down to us and our heritage, our customs. All right, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7, and verse 6. It says, "For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God." You got to understand what that word holy means. That word holy means to be separate. The Lord chose us to be a separate people from all people. That's why when you read all throughout the Bible, all you're going to read is black people and Hispanic people and Native American people being the ones that's chosen and also being the ones that must separate themselves, that not live the same lifestyle that everyone else lives. All right. It says, "For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself." The same way you might have your favorite pair of shoes, your favorite outfit. You know, you might have your own favorite anything. You have the right to have that favorite, right? And it says, "The Lord thy God had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself." We are a special people unto the Lord. This is in the Hebrew. This is in the Old Testament. This is for our learning. It says, "The Lord thy God had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth." Now, when you read this right here, right, it should tell you a couple things. It said above all people that are upon the face of the earth. This is why we can't be followers of these other nations. We can't go and follow at the evil individuals. We must be leaders because it says that above all people upon the face of the earth, the Lord had chosen us to be a special people to represent him on the face of the earth, to uphold the laws, statutes, and commands on the earth. You know, Donald Trump shouldn't be in rulership. It should be the children of God being in rulership. And what Donald Trump is doing in America, it should definitely be understood that we need to be the ones in charge. And this should drive you to want to serve the Lord even more. When we don't serve the Lord, we have some people that gets in power and make the world go in mourning. I'm gonna get that scripture for y'all. And in the book of Job, I believe it's 24 and 6. I think it's 6 and 24. I think it's 6 and 24. Give me a second. I haven't pulled the scripture up. Let me see. Bubbly, bubbly. Boom, boom. Because this scriptures, man, when you go through these scriptures, what you would do and find out is there's a lot. righteous. There we go. All right. So this is Proverbs 29:2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. We can't allow these people to be in power anymore. So it should drive us to want to put to death the old man, that old woman. Because that's all it really is. We at war with ourselves. And we gotta change the way that we think, the way how we operate. When I look around, and not just Philly, but any neighborhoods that we dwell in, man, we all suffer the same curses, man. We all suffering some way, somehow. It don't matter how much money you get, it don't matter where you at in life, we all suffer the same suffering because of these curses. Now, some of you might be like, what the hell is he talking about curses? Well, let me read it for you. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. And this is a good scripture. A good book for you to read out of the book of Deuteronomy. Why? Because when you read throughout the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, you will find where the Lord told us about the contract that we had with Him, the contract that He made with our forefathers. And when you read through these, the blessings and the curses, because this is what the whole chapter is about, it tells you and it shows you why we should never sin against the Lord. And we should never listen to somebody that tell us that it's okay to sin against the Lord. Because let's start at Deuteronomy chapter 27 and verse 1. I'm going to tell you how important the law is to the Lord, how important for us to keep the commandments is. This is Deuteronomy chapter 27 and 1. It said, in Moses with the elders of Israel, meaning the men that was in power, the generals, right? This is what Moses is speaking with the people. It says, and Moses with the elders of Israel commanded the people, saying, keep all the commandments which I command you this day. You understand? The Lord always wanted us to keep the commandments. So some of those commandments would be love your brother, love your sister, right? And there's rules on how you deal with your brother and how you deal with your sister. No backbiting, not coveting, meaning not wanting something that is theirs. So many brothers out here, if a woman tell you that she has a man, most men is going to still continue to try to pursue that woman after she told him that she was taken. Most brothers would covet after another man's wife. You understand? Which is an evil thing to do, right? Sisters, backbiting one another, gossiping the whole nine, doing all those type of activities, man. That is something that the Lord hates. So throughout these commandments, it's rules of engagement when it comes down to our people. Hold on, yeah. I because of the weather conditions, man, we had we we had to shut down the school. So I'm recording live from the crib. So bear with me. My light kind of gave out on me. I don't know what happened, but we're gonna keep it moving, right? So the Lord don't want us to hate one another. And think about it like this: you have brothers that beefing in the street, right? And majority of the times, when brothers get locked up and they do that time and they're locked up with the other people from from the opposing squad, usually when they in jail, they find some middle ground and make peace, right? Because life didn't hit them. Now here's the thing: if we understood the rules of engagement when it comes down to our brothers, right? We wouldn't allow it to fester into violence, to fester into something that would destroy us and lead us down a path of blood. And when you read the Bible, you're supposed to go to your brother and your brother alone if you have an issue with that brother. And if that brother don't hear you, you take it to the men of the Lord. That's why the men of the Lord is so important. The men of the Lord is so important because it is our job to be the peacemakers. It is our job to judge matters. You know, when someone needs to be when it's time for us to intervene, so that we can avoid what bloodshed. That's why when you see the Levites at one point in time, the only way you can become a priest was if you was a Levite, right? The bloodline of Aaron. when you when them Levites, they didn't have any land. They didn't have any inheritance how the other 11 tribes had, because they had to be scattered out amongst the tribes to make sure that they're regulating the law, statute, commands on all the land. So they was like your judges. You understand? Your lawyers, and they was pretty much the judicial system of Israel. But when you don't go into these scriptures and learn it the correct way, you would think that the Bible is just some fairy tale book, when it was really set up. It was councils, how we had councils. It was the way how we made our sacrifices unto the Lord. Even how if you sinned against the Lord, and a lot of people don't understand this. Before Christ, came on the scene, you would have to actually sacrifice cattle, something that was most valuable to you. You had to sacrifice it, right? It was certain ways that you had to sacrifice, you understand, and for your sins against the Lord. And you had to come to the priest, right? The priest will also put brothers and sisters to death. If you did something that was a death penalty, you'll get put to death. But because when Christ came, Christ taught people like, yo, y'all y'all about to enter a grace period, but y'all can't think that this is going to be a game, because the priest can't come in and unalive you anymore. You understand? Is you don't you is no point of you putting any sacrifice in anything, because if we go by the Old Testament rules, none of us will be able to claim that we Israelites. None of us would have any power under the Lord's eyes. Why? Because we ain't never celebrate a Passover, or we wasn't circumcised on the eighth day. You understand? Your father was an Israelite, but he had sex with a woman that was from another nation. So now you and your father and all your brothers and sisters will be cut off from the congregation, right? But because of Christ's sacrifice, he gave us all a chance to be able to come back to the Lord. He gave us a chance to be able to, being redeemed, right? That's why it's so important for us to read these scriptures. Let Donald Trump take away our history. Fuck Donald Trump. You understand? Fuck Donald Trump. We don't need the white man telling us our history. The men of the Lord in the ISUBK is here to teach you the truth. We don't need the white man to tell you anything. You can come to the ISUBK. We are scholars. We have brothers that is way past efficient when it comes down to the history books. That's why when we go out and put the Bible to the test, when we go and debate other scholars, worldly scholars, even brothers and sisters that that went to these high prestige colleges, right? Went around the world and traveled. When they come to us, they like, dang, y'all telling the truth. I thought the Jews didn't accept Jesus. That's the white man don't accept Jesus. The white man don't accept Jesus. The white man, let me tell you something about the Jewish people, right? Jewish people believe in something called the Talmud. When you read throughout the Talmud, it is one of the most evilest books that anyone can follow. You understand? Jewish people believe in sorcery. You understand? Their practices is nothing like. I give you something to look up, Hussein. Look up how Jewish people give circumcisions. Now, let me ask you this. The same people, the same fake Jews that said that they don't accept Jesus, Go look up how they perform their circumcisions when it comes to their kids, when it comes to the boy child. Matter of fact, I give it to you. They perform circumcisions with their mouth. It is documented that those Jewish rabbis was giving babies herpes because they was putting they mouth on those baby penises like some damn pedophiles. You understand? And it's nowhere in the Bible where it tell you to do that at. Like when Moses performed the circumcision on his son. No, Abraham. When Abraham performed that circumcision, he used a tool. He used a knife to cut to do that surgery on his son because that was the Old Testament. That was the Old Covenant. You understand? That was a part of the Old Covenant. That was a token of the Old Covenant. You understand? To separate us from everybody else. Yeah, they do it with their mouths. You know something. So whatever they say is null and void. Nothing that they say is the truth. Even if they was saying the truth, don't believe nothing that they say. You understand? And I'm gonna tell you this too. With the Jewish man, he don't even know where all the tribes are at. If you ask a white man, if you ask a Jewish man, hey, where all the tribes is at? They don't know where the hell the tribes is at. But they will look at you, they'll look at me, and when we say that we are a Jew, they will look at us like, no, the hell you not. They'll snicker. They man, listen. You might want to punch them in. You had to something might come over you where you might want to punch them in their mouth because as soon as they gonna question you like, you Jewish? You a Jew? You know what tribe you from? You gonna say Judah? You know what I mean? You black 9 out of 10. You gonna say I'm from the tribe of Judah. They don't know where the hell the 12 tribes is at. They don't know where they at. But they'll argue me and you that we are not Jews. When we go read in this Bible where it says that the Jews was black, it talks about the Jews being black all throughout the Bible. Jewish man would literally look at you and say, no, you not. You not a Jew. You one of them crazy ass. You one of them Israelites. Them black. And they call you a black Hebrew Israelite. Understand that that's an insult to black people when they say black Hebrew Israelite. How the hell I'm a black Hebrew Israelite? You don't never hear them say I'm a Jewish Israelite or I'm a white Jewish man. They don't say that, but they say black Hebrew Israelite because they want to disrespect us, man. But when we go through this Bible, and even if you go overseas, there's many presidents and kings that said, "Yo, man, the Jews left black and came back white." The president of Egypt back in the day, he said, man, they left black and came back white. When you go, I'm gonna give you some homework, right? When you go into the history books, uh it's a book called The Lost Tribes of the Promised Land, right? And in this book, it explains how when Christopher Columbus came over here, he came over here with a Hebrew translator. You wanna know why he came with a Hebrew translator? So that he knew who was here. Everybody knew who was here because it's in the Apocrypha where it says that the 10 tribes was going to they traveled to a land that no man knew, and the word that they used was Ashtarah. Ashtarah meaning a land where no man dwells. We traveled over here. The 10 tribes, the Hispanics, some of the black tribes, you understand, the Native Americans traveled over here to the Americas, right? And what happened was we set up shop. Christopher Columbus, people was coming over to the Americas way before Christopher Columbus, way before Amerigo Vespucci. People came, but it was no way you can just take over without an army. So what happened was he came with, and they got this in history books. They even got it in the movies. They got it in movies where uh they said that they read the Apocrypha, and there lies the children of Israel. And when you read this book, the Native American, I think it was a Seminole Indian, a so-called Seminole Indian. They, Christopher Columbus is talking to him, and he's speaking in Hebrew, and he tells him, "Yeah, and over there is the tribes of Joseph," meaning what? The so-called Puerto Ricans. You understand? The Cubans and all of them. You get what I'm saying? So when we go into these scriptures, we are reading our history. We're reading our history. Now, I answered the question about the Jewish people. You know what I mean? I don't trust any man that would sexually abuse a child. And I know you wouldn't. So everything that the Jewish man trying to stand on, and I'm gonna tell you how evil. Let me tell you how evil the Jewish man is. He is in the Holy Land. He's in Israel right now. Do you know in Israel you can actually on when it's the Pride Month? I think whatever Pride Month they had Pride Month in Israel, in Tel Aviv. They said that it was the first safe haven for gay people, and it started back in the 80s. Now, if you know anything about the Bible, uh, if you was found being a homosexual, you would get put to death. That's a law that before Christ came, if you was found being a homosexual, you'll get put to death, man or woman, right? So when you read, I'm trying to tell you, when you read this Bible, you will start to actually put together the dots and start saying this ain't making sense. Because with the Jewish man, what he does in Israel is commit crimes, not just against humanity, but unto the Lord. And that's why the Lord is making sure that World War III is going to happen, and it's going to start from out of that land. It's going to start from that land. And it already has started. You understand? And I'm going to tell you how crazy the Jewish man influence is. You notice that we don't hear about Gaza anymore, right? In the news. You peep that you don't hear too much about what's going on over there, right? We got to be aware of what's going on. Now, of course, the Palestinians, that's their fight. That's not our fight. Our fight, we already got a fight over here. You understand? We got ICE agents, and it was so many black people that said, "Oh, well, we don't. That's none of our business. Let me mind my business." Now your black ass, the dude Osama, the young boy that be rapping in Philly, Osama. I like his music, right? I wish he put out more music. That's just how I feel. He got pulled over by ICE agents. He's black. What are we talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we talking about? This man got pulled over by an ICE agent today in Philly. Pulled over. But us black people, we feel as though that we don't need to fight and stand by our brothers and sisters that's Hispanic. And I hear so many words talking about, oh yeah, man, they don't like us. Nigga, we don't like us. We kill one another. We hate one another. We fighting one another. We backbiting. You know what I'm saying? Females talking about, oh, that's not our fight. We need to worry about us. Bitch, you got your baby father on child support. You put that man through hell. You talking about this ain't your fight. Maybe you should stop fighting your baby dad. Maybe let's start there. You understand? Let's give that black man some peace. You know what I mean? And then let's work over to not worry, like, because everybody was worrying about the Palestinians. Everybody had all this love for the Palestinians, but when it comes down to the Hispanics, I'm gonna tell you what it is. We hate what Massa hate, and we love what Massa love. That's the problem. All right. That's why us coming back to these scriptures is so important. It doesn't matter, what you want to believe in. You want to go into the records that the Lord kept on his earth. Like the Lord could have allowed this Bible to wither away. He allowed our enemies to keep it alive. Now think about it. This Bible was not written for them, but it's so much wisdom in it. It's so much knowledge in it, and they felt that we can use this to civilize people in a way, and we can control the doctrine. Because when you have one God, what does that do? That so when in old times, when people serve different gods, I'll give you one. Like in Rome or Greece, you had people that worship certain gods, and that will cause division, right? These people over here worship Kronos. These people over here worship Aphrodite, Hermes, Ares. So now you got all these people worshiping different gods, and they like totally psyched into this. It causes division, right? But with the white man, he was like, when he got his hands on the Bible, he was like, shoot, man, one God. That's how Muhammad found us, because the Arabs before Muhammad came to the Israelites, he was like his people was serving multiple gods. I think they was serving like 300 something gods. They had a god for every day. When people came and sat down with us, you know, they was like, "Yo, man, these people is wise as hell." We was really the only ones that was on the scene that had one God, where we didn't do all of the talking to the dead, and we ain't do none of that. We understood what the Lord wanted us to understand. We understood the constellations. We understood math and science, right? Abraham was given the knowledge of science and math to the other nations. He will go and teach them these things, right? We always understood it. Adam learned all these things, and Adam passed it down from generation to generation. So when it comes down to the Bible, when it comes down to our history, man, you better learn it. You know, Listen, I'll tell you this, man. My house, my children, or any child in the ISUBK and the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, they would not be affected by some white man trying to take away their history. Why? Because the parents are the ones that's supposed to be teaching them, right? Hispanic voted for Trump in mass. Yeah, and they're learning. They're learning. You definitely right. It was a good portion of Hispanic men and women that voted for Trump. And I'm gonna tell you like this: they're learning not to be an idiot anymore. Those Hispanics, again, they wanted to love what Master love. It ain't just a black thing. It ain't just a Hispanic thing or a Native American thing. It's a us thing. You understand? You got black people that try to side with Trump, and it was so many times I'm sitting there. As time goes on, I'm just looking at black Trump supporters, and I'm like, "You still supporting him? This man is he's a pedophile. He's literally committing crimes. Donald Trump is literally committing crimes, not just around the world. I'm saying this man is literally, that he's supposed to turn in them Epstein files unredacted, because they had a Epstein Transparency Act where the Congress is everybody voted on it, all the branches of government, they all voted on it, where it was supposed to be Donald Trump, the DOJ was supposed to deliver and hand over the unredacted files, and also put out all the files, you understand, by a certain date. Now, they say that, oh, well, we just got the files. They said in the beginning of Trump presidency that they have them, and FBI agents came out saying that Cash Patel, the director of the FBI, have been paying them overtime to redact and go through the Epstein files. People want to support that, right? Which is stupid. This man, he doesn't do anything correctly. He's a damn lunatic. You understand? The man suffered from dementia. You understand? And Hispanic people and black people and Native American people voted for this douchebag. And now they're sitting back and seeing that they thought that they can be Hispanics and that voted for Trump, and they're cool. I'm an American. They can't come here illegal. Let me tell you something about our brothers and sisters that came here illegally. Let me tell you something. One, this was their land first. Get that through your damn head. You understand? Them Hispanic brothers and sisters, man, they was here first, right? And those brothers, imagine you and your kids, you in the land where it's not prosperous, right? You struggling, You know what I mean? Wars is going on with the cartel. You know what I mean? You don't want your kid to grow up and having to join the cartel. Like, I don't think y'all understand. The cartel, man, is ran by some high powered individuals. Hold on, yo. They is ran by high powered individuals, right? Government, right? The government got a good hand into the cartel. Don't believe me? Go look up the 80s, how they funded the war in Contra. Uh, they funded that war in Contra with crack cocaine money. You think that show, what is Snowfall, was a good show? That show was telling you how Freeway Ricky Ross was the biggest sellout in Black history. One of the biggest sellouts in Black history. Single handedly destroyed millions of families in America. And all that money went back to funding a war because they couldn't go to Congress to go get some of that money. They like, man, it's gonna take too long. You know what I mean? You know what? And we can destroy black people while we at it. Why not? We're gonna get the money, and we're gonna be able to fund the war down in there. And they use and this CIA documentation that is unclassified. You can go look it up, right? Gary Webb, he died. Gary Webb, go look him up. Gary Webb was a journalist that did some real deep digging, and I think a whistleblower came to him, and he basically found out that the CIA and the DEA was working hand in hand to, you know, to destroy Black, Hispanic, Native American communities with crack cocaine to fund the war, and he got killed. He got killed. The guy, the one guy that worked in Central Intelligence that retired, that quit, and he became a whistleblower. He wrote a book called "The Pale White Horse." You can go read that. And he put out in this book like, yo, man, these people backdoor black people and Hispanic people, Native American people, right? So when it comes down to history, man, again, we got to learn this shit ourselves. We got to learn this ourselves. We can't continue to believe that we got to get our information from them. You know, you send your kids to school. That's the only time they learn history is through going to school. No, they should be learning history when they come home. You should be sitting them down, giving them lessons. Or you can bring them to us. You and your kid can come to class. You can watch classes where you can learn about our history. We don't just, we go into the Bible and we go to other records. Like right now, I've been going into the crack epidemic ain't in the Bible. It ain't saying, yo, America then sold crack to the people, this and that. Nah. But what you would find is that never trust your enemy. They hunt our steps. That's what you will find in the Bible. You know what I mean? You will find, when we don't follow the Most High, that things bad will happen to us. Let me see. I read the book, Behold, they Pale Words. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That book right there, man. That's a powerful book because he went into a lot of specifics that a lot of us should know. You understand? And the part of why we had an issue in our homes as black people and Hispanics and Native Americans was due to the crack epidemic. Think about it. Our parents was, if you like in your 30s, 20s, 40s, your parents was born in that 60, 70 range. They parents wind up smoking crack, right? Or they wind up smoking crack like in the 80s or the 90s, right? Boom. Families all destroyed. So now when they have kids, they not trying to take care of their responsibility. Or, hey, I don't want you dealing with my son, because that whole feminist movement thing and the whole welfare thing. Hey, I don't need you. We don't gotta go down that rabbit hole. We already know how that goes, right? But a lot of us didn't have our fathers growing up. That crack epidemic was something vicious, man. It was something vicious. And it also goes back to Dr. Martin Luther King's dream that became a nightmare for us. That was a Martin Luther King's dream is a nightmare. We living in it. Look at the ICE agents. He wanted us to love and trust these people. How can you do that? How, like literally, how can we trust these people after everything that they have done to us? We can't. It's they did too much. We should focus our love and our passion for one another. That's what we should do. Like me, I don't got it in me to hate a brother. Like if you black, Hispanic, Native American, man or woman, I can't. It's not in me to just hate you. I got some way somehow I'm going to forgive you. You understand? Even it doesn't matter. You understand? Like we going to try to work through it. You know what I mean? Because I understand the bigger picture, and that's what we got to understand, right? Kind of went on a tangent. You know what I mean? Shout out to Hussein. You know what I mean? You read that book. That's a good book. You know what I mean? And again, we going to all the other books. I mean, if I was to go downstairs in my library, I'd just be pulling out books, books after books after books that corresponds with everything that the Bible was saying. Right? So we're going to go into the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28. We're going to start at verse 1. And it says, "And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments." To do all his commandments. There we go again, where it's telling us to keep the commandments of God, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. So what does that mean? We would be the ones in rulership. If we keep God's commandments, we would be the ones in rulership. We need to be the ones in rulership because Donald Trump is in rulership and he's an idiot. Donald Trump is a complete idiot. Donald Trump is around a bunch of yes men, right? When he did interviews, right? He did interviews, I think, with this one British guy, and he started trying to act like the numbers in America was so amazing. And Donald Trump started flipping through pages, like he started panicking, right? And he said, "Well, look, well here go the proof right here." Boy started flipping through. He said, "Yo, this don't got nothing to do with you talking about. What are you talking about? Like, what are you? This is something totally different. You know what I mean?" And Donald Trump is a complete idiot. You understand? Like they kill white people, right? They just killed some. They killed two white people, and Donald Trump administration was already under fire. Donald Trump knows that majority of the people in Minnesota is white. Right now, if he was smart, he would say, "Don't go crazy on those people because they're white." That's what it has to be, right? Like, don't go crazy because if y'all start killing white people, it's already bad enough midterms. A lot of Republicans not going to have these seats, right? It's going to be bad for them. But he feel as though that he told them to go. He told them to be more oppressive. He said, "Man, go at them. You got complete immunity." Now he's trying to save face. He went to Iowa yesterday. He went to Iowa. I think it was today or yesterday. Went to Iowa to try to save face because Iowa is where all the farmers is at, and the farmers is like, "Man, the hell with you, Trump. You sold us out. You gave breaks to Argentina. You know what I mean? You up there doing us dirty, and we out here struggling. You putting terrorists and all that on us, and we suffering." So Donald Trump go to Iowa try to save face. You understand? And he's talking about midterms. Chrissy Noem, I think it was Pam Bondi. No, I think it was Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi told Minnesota, "A lot of you not." Pam Bondi, uh, she's the director or the secretary of the Department of Justice. I think she runs the Department of Justice right now. Pam Bondi sent a letter to the governor of Minnesota and was like, "Hey, yeah, we will remove our ICE agents if you give us if you hand over your voting machines. He was like, hell no, what the hell is you talking about? Like they are afraid that once the Democrats have the majority, a lot of them gonna go to jail. A lot of them is gonna lose power. A lot of them is gonna fail because of their crimes that they have been committing while they've been in office. Like a lot of people are gonna be held accountable. And them ICE agents, a lot of them, the Democrats came out. They said, yeah, they said this like a couple months ago. They said y'all got power right now, but y'all going to lose, and eventually all of y'all is gonna be tried in court. All of y'all. Like, don't think that y'all not gonna get tried in court. Y'all all gonna get tried in court. You understand? And this is going to be a rainy day. You understand? And we as Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we got to look at what's happening in politics in America and see that the house is divided. If a house is divided, it shall fall. Look at how Rome uh was built, and look how Rome fell. Rome fell because they had wars within. Rome fell because they had idiot leaders like Donald Trump in office that felt as though that he had more power than any other branch, and that's what he feels. His own administration, Stephen Miller, came out and said that Donald Trump has pure authority over America. You do know that the forefathers of America knew that they had to be wise about their descendants having too much power and giving them a certain level of power without the checks and balances involved. When you look at Rome and you look at America, the government is set up the same way. It's set up the same way. And they give equal balanced power to each branch. So that one branch don't try to gain more, don't abuse power and try to take over in a way, right? Because again, America is at war right now. It's a whole civil war going on right now, and it's spewing very small. But eventually, if this thing keeps happening, it's going to boil over into full out violence, more violence than what already is occurring. So again, this is why we got to sit back and learn. We got to sit back and understand this Bible. You understand? There's going to be so many distractions out here. You got the Black Panther Party. The Black Panther Party it ain't the Black Panther Party no more. It's the Black Lions. The Black Lions now. This brother came on the scene. You understand? They started using our videos for promotion. Started using the ISUBK training videos for promotion. Nigga, you wasn't on that field with us. You ain't out here with us. How you gonna use our footage to make it seem like this is you? This is how you stepping. You lost your damn mind. You understand? And come to find out, man, the Black Panther Party don't want nothing to do with them. Yeah, Hussein, you seen it? The people of the original Black Panther Party. Here's the thing. We actually had a debate with the Black Panther Party. We had a debate with the Black Panther Party. One of their attorneys, I think he's like the Attorney General of the Black Panther Party. We had this debate. Ken Tazariak debated them, and they was cool people. You know what I mean? It was a good debate. It took place in New York, and being around them, you know what I mean, and then seeing him pull up on the scene, you can see the difference. Like, don't get it wrong. If you're a black man trying to do something, you're a Black Hispanic Native American man trying to do something, trying to put on some boots, I can respect it, right? Like the IGBK, we respect it. We see the fire in you. But brothers and sisters, you must be careful on who the hell you believe and follow. You got to be very wary of people that comes out. You know what I mean? Especially like that. You know, because me being a trained professional here in ISUBK, I see him walking around with an AR-15. Let me tell you something. There's no reason to do that. In ISUBK, the police, the feds, all they contact us when they want to de-escalate the situation. They had in Detroit, the feds called us, the FBI called us, and they was like, "Look, we know that y'all got a huge influence, in in the inner city of Detroit. We got a brother that he's barricaded in the house. He knows you. Can you go and try to talk this man, you know what I mean, into surrendering and doing this the right way? Because we don't want to hurt him." Boom. We got that brother out the house. The brother got taken into custody. Nobody harmed the brother. You understand? And we did what we were supposed to do. We didn't have to pull up with guns. If we see a situation going on where police is abusing somebody, or if it's a situation going on, we just stand on the side. You know what I mean, and make sure that everything is good. You get what I'm saying? Like if an ICE agent, even with this, right? ICE agents, they got certain assignments, right? And it might be a brother that might have committed a crime, right? You might not want to. This man might have been touching kids, and there's times where they had warrant out for people arrested that was touching kids, right? And they're here illegally. Okay, you gotta let them do their job. Like by law, you don't want to break the law, right? And the Black Panther Party is almost like he about to break the law, because if an ICE agent is committing, if like, okay, let's say this brother or sister, they not here legally. By law, you can't do anything to them. You understand? Is the most thing you can do is say, look, don't abuse them, right? And most best believe we ain't gonna allow nobody to abuse anybody on our watch. You understand? We gonna be telling the brother or sister, hey, relax, relax, chill out. You know what I mean? Just let them just go through the process, because you doing all that ain't gonna do nothing. Don't be afraid. And this is one thing we teach, man. Don't be afraid to go to jail. So many people are afraid of going to jail. Just go to jail. If you gotta go get locked up, you go get locked up. You understand? Don't do all the actions. You know what I mean? You arguing with them, doing all that. They already got their mind made up what they gonna do. All you gotta do is just be prepared to go to jail and fight it. You know what I mean? Go to court. Do what you gotta do. Because the ICE agents ain't over the judge. You gotta remember, these ICE agents only got like a couple, I think like a month or a couple months of training, and then they go hit the streets. These cats that's hitting these ICE agents is January Sixers. They've been parted, and they said we're about to go fight for our nation, and we're going to oppress Hispanic people and Black people and Native American people. That's what they're going to do. So it is wise to go by the law on anything. If they conducting an investigation on somebody, let them do it. You don't sit there with a damn AR-15 on your chest and talk about some, yeah, what y'all doing? Da, da, da. What you doing all that for? You know what I mean? You fall back. You can sit right there with your men and watch them from afar. Now they start abusing a person, start doing all types of nonsense, then I ain't gonna tell you what you need to do. I mean, that's how ISUBK stands. We don't gotta go have our guns out. We gun owners. I got a bunch of guns in my house. I don't have to come out and have my guns out and, try to show power. I show power by coming in the name of the Lord, coming in the name of Jesus Christ, Yahweh Mashiach in the Hebrew. I'm coming in the name of the King. You understand? There's many times cops was conducting investigations around us, and me and the brothers, we right there. We sit right there and we watch what's going on. You know what I mean? They might come over to us and start talking to us like, yeah, he had a warrant out for his arrest. All right, you know. Thank y'all for doing your job the correct way. You know what I mean? Cops pulled us over, all types of stuff. You don't think we go out and teach and they come to us? Let me tell you something. The Lord said, man, if you serve him, man, your enemies will be at peace with you. That's what you want to get it to. That's why keeping the commandments is so important. He said, when you please the Lord, man, even your enemies are going to be at peace with you. When we go out to go teach, the cops know that we there. You want to know why? Because we call them. We follow the law step by step. Why? Because we don't want none of our brothers to die for no damn reason. You understand? When we outside and when we teaching or whenever we doing anything, we maintain discipline. When I'm watching the Black Panther Party and they out and about doing a little protest, the dude is the head of this party that he has. Why is the men under you talking while you supposed to be talking? They should be on standby, shutting their damn mouth and being observant, making sure that their head is on the swivel and allowing you to talk to show some damn order. I give you a prime example. If you go around a military base, right, and you're in the area where there's a bunch of military men is at, the highest ranking man is going to talk to whoever is coming in inquiring about things. You understand? That highest ranking man is the one that you're gonna have to address, or the one that's under him that he say, hey, you go and talk to them. You understand? It's always about ranking order. I'm looking at these cats, they got on sneakers. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can keep going. I can keep going. Because I've been doing this since 2018. I've been in this school since 2018. Thank the Lord for that. And it been drilled in my head on how to lead men. And one of the things you never want to do is put your men in a compromising situation. Now, through the mercy of the Lord, none of them then got hurt. And I pray they don't get hurt. But he's putting his men at risk. And I'm going to tell you another thing. The nigga got to be the feds. You know, the Black Panther Party was flooded with COINTELPRO. All those black organizations from back in the day, even Martin Luther King, they said the man that was there when he got shot was a CIA agent. I said, good night. Now, here's the difference with the ISBK. If you are a CIA agent, and let's say you try and be undercover, it's nothing you're gonna have on this. We don't do nothing illegal. We do nothing illegal. We know that the weapons of our warfare is not carnal. So we don't gotta sit around and plan some goddamn illegal or plan some damn attack on people. We don't gotta do none of that. No, we gonna do? We gonna follow the rules that the Most High told us to follow. And with those rules is keep the commandments of God and obey the laws of land. So you ain't gonna see us selling drugs. You ain't gonna see us unaliving people, robbing people, extorting people, doing illegal things with money. We ain't gonna be doing none of that. We're gonna do everything by the book. And if they ever try to come into our organization, soon as you try to tell us to do some evil nonsense, we're gonna look at you and be like, this cat out of his damn mind. This cat is out of his damn mind. You want me to what? You trying to flip some work, brother? Is you out your damn mind? You know what I mean? Like, you listen, man. You can't do nothing illegal in our school. You understand? But in that Black Panther Party that brother is running, he's definitely a fed. I think he said that's because dude is an agent trying to find extremists. Yeah, damn right. Dude is definitely a damn agent. They said the dude was just a Crip or a Blood. He was a failed rapper. And this was, I think they said this was like a year ago. And then he said, "Yeah, man, by, uh, I've been co-signed by the other old timers of the Black Panther Party." He's supposed to have this whole sit down and all that, and then eventually it was like, I'm gonna just call it the Black Lions now, because Black Lions travel in the pride. They travel in the pack, and you know if you go, it's so many people I see. They talking about, oh man, I'm about to join up. Where do I sign up? You gonna be a you? I guess you don't learn. I guess you don't do your history on what's going on out here. But you know, that's why we gotta keep these commandments. That's why we gotta do what the Most High said to do. You understand? But I'm gonna read a little bit of these. I'm gonna read a little bit of the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. All right, it says, "And all these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee, if thou shalt hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God." Again, when you read, so I'm gonna read some of the blessings that you get. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. All right, that should let you know when you're in the city, you're gonna be protected, you're gonna be blessed. You understand? When you're in the field, right, you're gonna be blessed. You know what I mean? You're gonna be blessed with safety. All right. Um, let's keep going. Blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the fruit of thy body, meaning your children. Now, if you Black, Hispanic, Native American, your children is dying at a vast rate, which is insane. Our children is not following the good things that we are giving them, right? And part of how our children fail is the major reason why most of the time our children fail is because of us and what we give to them. All right. Boom, boom. So it said, "Blessed shall be thy basket and thy store." What do that mean? Your business. Your business, if you follow the Lord, man, your business is going boom. But if we don't keep the commandments of God, our business won't prosper. That's why if you see Black, Hispanic, Native American businesses, it don't really last that long. Don't really, it's not prosperous how our enemies' businesses are. You understand? Because the Lord has cursed us, man. We are under these curses, right? And I can keep going. Like, we ain't blessed like this, but that's why we can't listen to people that tell us don't keep the commandments of God. You understand? Don't keep the commandments of God. Do what you want to do. God knows your heart. All those excuses that take you away from keeping the commandments of God. Don't listen to that doctrine. Don't listen to those people. All right, this is verse 15 in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28. But it said, "But it shall come to pass that thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God to observe and to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses, again, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee." So when it comes down to keeping the commandments of God, it is very important that we do so as a nation so that we can be blessed. All right. Uh, so let's look at verse 22. It said, "The Lord shall smite thee with consumption and with fever and with inflammation, with extreme burning and with the sword and with blasting and the mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish." So this is talking about sicknesses. We already know what happened to the Native Americans and the Taino Indians, you understand, and Black people, you know what I mean, and the Native Americans. And it's also saying that we will catch STDs and HPVs. You understand? Because all of these things are consumptions of fever, inflammation, extreme burning. You know what I mean? That's what we suffering, man. And we being gunned down. It said with the sword, man, we being gunned down in the cities. We being hunted and treated like cattle. You know what I mean? We being treated like animals. This is a curse that we have on us as a people. You understand? And this is why keeping the commandments is so important. Verse 28. I'm gonna go through some of these curses so you can understand what the hell I'm talking about. "The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of the heart." This is why we don't understand our history. because the Lord was like, okay, I'm going to blind you from the truth. I'm not going to tell you the truth. I'm going to blind you. I'm not going to give you the knowledge that you used to have. I'm gonna give you nothing. You're just gonna think that you are black. You're just gonna think that you're Hispanic. You're just gonna think that you're Native American. You just gonna think whatever the white man tell you is, that's what you're gonna believe. Whatever religion that you are given or that you come across, I'm gonna just let you believe that because of the crimes that we have committed against the Lord as a people. Verse 29, and thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled even more, and no man shall save thee. So when it comes down, when it says no man shall save thee, it's talking about giving like complete freedom back. You understand? Like this is what we going through right now as we speak. Like the Jewish man, this don't apply to the Jewish man. None of these curses apply to the Jewish man because he was saved by America, his own people, and he was put on high and given power. We don't have that. You understand? But it does say, when we just read, that man, we're going to grope day and night. We're going to suffer day and night. You understand? We're going to suffer in all our ways, and that's what we're going through. All right. Let's go to 32. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thine eyes shall look and fail with longing for them all day long, and there shall be no might in thy hand. We already know what happened to our children. And when the white man was going around capturing us, man, we already know what happened. Children being sold on a chopping block. Even right now, children being taken, ripped away from their families, thrown in cages, given aluminum blankets, sleeping on floors, crying for their mom day and night. These people don't give a damn about us. So when they say that the ISUBK, we wrong, we extremists and all of that, it, it don't make sense because the extreme ones is our enemies. Donald Trump is notorious for ripping children away from their parents. It was so crazy that the courts was like the judges would just sit there and be like it drove some of them to retire because they couldn't fathom just seeing this little kid. This kid is 4 years old, 5 years old, and having to defend themselves in court. Don't know where their parents is at. Most of the Hispanic children that was ripped away from their parents back in the Trump first administration, they can't even find their parents no more. The little 5 year old that ICE picked up, right? They tried to deport him. The judge was like, yo, y'all not about to deport this kid, man. Like the judges is trying to they clapping back at Trump right now. They like, yo, what the hell is y'all doing? Y'all just doing whatever the hell y'all want to do. Like, and that's why I said the hammer is gonna come down on them because it's too much at play. It's too much at play. You understand? And that's just what it is. So I'm gonna read. I'm gonna read a couple more. Uh, boom, boom. So let's read verse 64. All right. And the Lord shall scatter thee amongst all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other. We already know we've been scattered all around, right? Boom, boom. And there thou shalt serve other gods. So we're not serving the gods of our forefathers. We're serving gods of our masters. You understand? We're serving gods of other nations. All right. Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. Our fathers meaning our forefathers. Our forefathers never followed after these religions. And it says even wood and stone. That's being Christianity, the Catholic Church. You understand? The wanna be uh you know the other religions, and the stone being your sorcery, Islam, all those other religions that rely on wood and stone. That's what we're serving, right? And the Lord want us to understand that when we go and serve these other guys, when we go and not keep his commandments, this is what we're opening the door to. That's why we charge the Christian church. That's why we charge the Muslim mosque. Because we understand that we must keep these commandments. So when I'm up here teaching, it's not to bash people in a way of like being unbrotherly. No, I gotta do this because I understand the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is if we don't keep the commandments of God, we're going to fail. We're going to continue to cry over our children being ripped away from us and our children dying in the streets. We'll continue to see more families being destroyed, more people being strung on drugs, seeing our communities being ran down on by ICE agents and police officers. You understand? Our people struggling, being taxed more. You know that Donald Trump, the big beautiful bill, if you don't make over 50,000 a year, you're being taxed more. It's already bad enough you already struggling. If you don't make over 50,000 a year, you're being taxed more. Wrap your brain around that. We got to get Christ to come back. And the way how we do that is keeping the commandments of God. You understand? That's what we got to do. The children of Abraham all worship the same God. You're right. And when you look at the God that's in the Bible, they all knew that they was Hebrews. They all spoke Hebrew. They all understand that when it comes down to the Most High is not the way how the world try to make the Most High pictured. Right? When you read the Bible, when we went to war as a nation. It was structured. Everything was structured by how the Most High told us to set it up. You understand? That's why when you read the book of Leviticus, you read the book of Numbers, Deuteronomy, you understand you're reading how the Most High set up Israel. You're reading how the priest of the Lord operated. When you look inside these religions, it doesn't move like that. When you look at the high holy days, when you read the book of Leviticus, the 25th chapter, when you read the book of Leviticus, the 25th chapter, right, you're going to read about our high holy days. When you go through the first five books of the Bible, you're learning about how the priests was supposed to perform their acts as priests, the rules and regulations. Now, when you go inside these religions, they don't keep the priests' offices the same. You're not even considered a priest in these religions. The commandments is not enforced. Like the commandments always was enforced. I just read the book of Deuteronomy where it was saying if we don't keep these commandments, we're going to be cursed. So when it comes down to that, that should just let you know, like, all right, I just read that the Most High wanted us to keep the commandments and what was going to happen. And these is prophecies. You understand? These are prophecies that will come to pass. And this is how you know that the Bible is 100% perfect because we're literally reading about what happens when we don't serve the Lord. Now the white man don't serve the Lord, and look where he at. Look where the white man at. He don't serve the Lord, but he got everything that he want. But it says that the Lord would definitely take back his world. He just allowing them to run a movie because we did wrong. But Christ is going to come back. And once Christ comes back, ooh-wee. So with that being said, y'all, I thank y'all for tuning in. All right, I'm going to end the class here. Thank y'all for tuning in. hopefully we'll be back up and running in the school by next week. I don't know how the snowstorm going to be, but hopefully the snowstorm don't be too drastic. With that being said, man, I thank y'all for tuning in with that. Shalom.